Okay, this is just a quick tip on how I use these little yarn butterflies to use up little bits of yarn left over from projects or waste yarn that's still good enough to use over again. Most everybody knows how to make these butterflies, but I kind of want to show how I wind mine to get it ready to use in my sock machine. So whatever piece that you have at the end of your project, you have to rip it out anyway, so you might as well wind up a little butterfly so that you can use it up again. And while you're unraveling it, you might as well wind it up. So I take about six inches or so, and I clamp them between the knuckles of my index finger and my middle finger. And you want to wind back and forth in a figure eight over the tops of whatever fingers you choose to use. I'm going to use these two fingers. You can make it wider if you want to, but I don't like my butterflies to be too big. So I'm going to first go over the top of my thumb, over the top of that finger, and very loosely. Number one, you won't be able to get your fingers out if you do it too tightly. But what we're doing here is creating a weaver's cross. These pieces of yarn will never slide past each other and get tangled up. So if you do this, it kind of prevents you getting your yarn tangled. So weavers use this. I use this cross method when I'm winding a warp for my loom. So you just keep going till you've used up your little bits that you're unwinding from your project. I just saw a knot go by, but I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm going very loosely with this because you don't want it to bind up when you're trying to use it on your sock machine. So once you've gotten it wound up, you'll want to leave a good sized tail on the end, and don't get it mixed up with the tail that you've reserved between your fingers here. So I've got enough tail here that I can wind around this, so I just pinch in the middle of the cross, or the where they've crossed in the middle, and I put this one off to the side, and then I take this one and lightly wind it around. And when I get to a short piece that's left, I stick my finger in the way and wind it around my finger so that I can go underneath it like that and pull a little strand underneath. And I just kind of cinch it up just to keep it tidy, and I throw these in a little basket to use over again. And now I'm going to show how I use this on the knitting machine. So when you set it on your table, take the little tail that we cinched that up with, set some kind of a weight on it, and then the part that's feeding out of the butterfly that we started with is going to be threaded through your machine. So as I knit, if I did this loose enough, it's not going to bind up at all, and the weight keeps the butterfly from going up and down when you knit forward, because it'll rise up if you don't weigh this down. So instead of you having to reach back there and pull on it, just put a weight on it, and it does pretty good. I don't find it binding at all, and the key is just winding it very loosely.